Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Pack Leader Podcast, season number 2, episode number 3. Brian Blaine, how we doing?
Doing well, Coach. But after last night, doing very well.
Oh, yeah, it was a good one. Electric atmosphere with the guys that came to support, and with all the Newberry College students. We had some high school teams in attendance. It was a blast.
Yeah, it was a good time. Among those high school teams, and we'll get to it here shortly, one of our former teammates. That was good to see him. But huge duel. Lots of excitement, lots of energy, some new toys we're playing around with.
Yeah.
They worked out pretty well. So, like you said, good environment, good energy, good electricity in the gym, and a win, which is most important.
Yeah, absolutely, and that took us to 2-0 in the conference, which was exciting too. But before we jump into all the particulars on the recap and our competition schedule, I just want to remind all of our fans that you can find the Pack Leader Podcast not only on YouTube, but if you're on the go, like Coach and I are often, you can stream us online, be it Spotify, Apple Music. You can find us also on the Newberry College official wrestling website, where all you have to do is go navigate to the wrestling page, and you can search Newberry Podcast Hub. Coach, 2022-2023 pin pool is off to a start, and we got 13 pins on the season.
Yes, 13 pins, and having hit our preseason goal fairly early, with hopes to hit our full season goal hopefully early as well.
Yeah.
That's a good sign. 13 pins so far. We're only 4 events in, 2 opens, 2 dual meets. Seems we do a little better in the dual meets, but we've also been going with some tough opens. But 13 pins to start the season out is definitely a good showing.
Yeah, it's a good showing. We got John Parker coming in at 197 pounds, Devin Rice and Chance Jackson both at heavyweight, who lead the team with 2 pins each. Asa Walton at 165 pounds has the team's fastest pin over Tyler Swiderski of actually he was unattached at the Bob Del Rosa Open, but he pinned him in just 51 seconds, so he got in and got out.
Right. I think Chance is going to be upset because he had it with 52.
Yeah, he was a close second.
Asa slid in there.
Yeah, Asa slid in there just 1 second with the fastest one. But, pin pool's off to a good start, and the guys are competing well. The team right now, we're earning $283 per pin just for all of our pin pool members who wanted to update. That's where we are. So we're about $117 shy of that $400 goal that we want to be at by the end of the season. So please help us reach that goal. Like I said, we've been able to do some tremendous things to enhance the student-athlete experience for our guys on the team. We purchased a new wrestling mat last season. We also got a couple pretty cool smoke machines that we got to test out last night, which I thought really contribute to the atmosphere.
Yeah, we host dual meets, and obviously the primary focus is the competition aspect. We want to host a dual meet, we want to have home field advantage, so to speak, and you want to get the win. But at the same time, we want support. We want the crowd to be on our side. We want it to be something that people want to come to. So home match experience is something we've spent a lot of time this offseason trying to enhance and work to, make it a little better, a little more exciting. And all comments, all feedback has been positive that we certainly took a step in that direction last night. And I had a good time, and I thought it was awesome. Yeah,
I thought it was a blast. And shout out to Newberry Sports and Mikey for helping, letting us use some lights and stuff to kind of go along with all that. So it was exciting. And Coach, who came in really clutch with kind of building that trustway situation. Pretty handy, dude.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what it's called or exactly how I did it. Basically, I screwed a bunch of stuff together, but it worked. It works good. It looks pretty good. So I'll take credit for
it. Yeah. So awesome job, and I'm excited to get back in the gym. I think our next home match won't be until January, but hoping that we'll have, with that 16-week turnaround time, hoping we'll have our new competition mat by then too, to go along with some of the other things that we've added. Moving on though, I want to talk about the Pack Leader Podcast Fan of the Month. That's definitely got to go to Troy Walton, Asa's dad. He left New Jersey at 3 a.m. Drove 10 hours straight just to catch his boy wrestling in the dual meet, who showed out for him. But we definitely will get some gear in the mail to him. Pack Leader Podcast Fan of the Month, Troy Walton.
Yep, I believe he had to get up early this morning and drive back home.
Yeah.
Not a great turnaround for that, but we saved him a few dollars in gas by Asa not pinning his kid, checking him instead. So,
right.
He did his dad a little bit of a favor, saved him some gas money because Troy is in the pin pool. So.
Yes, he is, and he actually mentioned that when we caught up with him after the match. He was like, he was sweating there. He thought he was going to pin him at once. But yeah, thanks for coming, Troy. We appreciate your support of the program, your support for Asa. It's great to have you guys be a part of what we're doing here. But let's jump into some competition recap before we get to the interview with Nolan Whiteley that we did. So we started off in Virginia at the Southeast Open that was hosted at Roanoke College. Coach, you want to talk about a little bit of takeaways from that?
Yeah, just a quick point, hosted at Roanoke College by Virginia Tech. So big D1 used to be the Hokie Open, now it's the Southeast Open. Tough competition. I think we were one of only two Division II teams.
The only other one there was Tiffin.
Yeah, Tiffin had a few guys, but Citadel, Virginia Tech, Virginia, lots of those East Coast ACC type teams in attendance.
And we aren't talking backups either. We're talking like Mekhi Lewis walking around.
Lewis was
NCAA champ.
NCAA champ. So lots of tough competition. And, we took some lumps, but at the same time, it was really good to figure out where we were. And I think our guys responded well. Our guys saw where they're at, and we weren't as far behind as maybe we thought in some of those matchups. Getting out and competing for the first time, I think, is really the one area that we needed. More so than anything else we learned. Just kind of making weight, going out, and we're not training to train. We're not training to survive a 2-hour practice. We're training to go compete and win a 7-minute match. And I think that's what we figured out, and that's what our guys learned. And the next, week or two of training and the next couple of events, you could see those adjustments being made.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, it was a really tough season opener. And I think a part of the reason some of our guys didn't perform where we necessarily wanted them to was the D1 competition walking around. I mean, I had a couple of freshmen just with those deer in the headlight kind of looks like, oh, that's Mekhi Lewis. Oh, that's, Coleman Scott over there. Olympians and world team members walking around, NCAA champs walking around. So it was good to just kind of get through that. And, dude, welcome to college. You're here. This is what we do.
Autograph after the match. Right now you got to represent.
Yeah, so even still, we had a couple standout performances in Tim Decatur. He went really deep into the tournament, and so did Devin Rice, who had a solid win over a really tough Virginia kid, which was a Division I opponent. So super proud of those guys, and like you said, we brought it back to the lab, made some adjustments, and it really paid off moving into Belmont, which we were able to win 24-15.
Yeah, that duel was one that we really want to get back after last year. Dropped the first duel in program history to Belmont. They got a solid team, solid program. We knew we were going to be stepping into a hostile environment, going up to their place. They came down and took one from us here last year, so we want to go return the favor this year. And just some of those adjustments were immediately evident. Guys, like I know we're going to get to it sort of as a standout performance with the seal the duel situation with PJ, but even earlier in that match, just taking the offensive mentality and he'd go out there and hand fight looking for the perfect opportunity, but those little adjustments like, hey, it's not going to be perfect, but anticipate your attacks, hand fight to what you know is going to be there, and be ready to pull the trigger ahead of time so that when it is there, your timing's good and all that sort of stuff. It worked out really well for him. Some go-behinds. Him and Devin Moore both look great there. Mm-hmm. Dayton Fields putting some things together on top.
Yeah.
Lots of good performances. The adjustments that we spoke about from the Southeast Open to Belmont were very apparent, and that was very promising to see.
Yeah, definitely. And I think while those technical deficiencies we wanted to adjust, and even some of the things between the ears kind of came along a little bit, I did notice that now, going from the 2-hour weigh-in situation at an open or tournament as opposed to the 1-hour situation, I think we got to address some things there, how to manage that time a little bit better in our warm-up. But it's early in the season, and super proud of the guys. Speaking of those standout performances, though, I think one of the most notable was at 149 pounds when Devin Moore knocked off number 3 ranked Tyler Pepe of Belmont Abbey. He's ranked number 3 right now. Devin's number 4. So that was a great head-to-head matchup, and I expect to see us moving up to number 3 in the next poll that comes out. Maybe even higher, depending on how we do against Piccarilli of UNCP in a couple weeks.
Right, and Devin's been one of those kids that we've been so high on for a couple of years, and he's really – you watch him in the room, and he could beat anybody you put in front of him. He's really struggled, I think, just to translate, and I think it's that training thing I mentioned a moment ago. We're not training to get through a 2-hour practice in dominant fashion. We're not training to get through a 10-minute or 30-minute grind match in dominant fashion. We're training to get through a 7-minute match against an opponent you don't know in dominant fashion. And he's really starting to put those things together. It showed at Belmont Abbey, showed again last night, and I think Devin Moore is very close to turning the corner and being a really special member of our program and getting his getting his name up on this wall, hopefully,
Yeah.
and doing some big things.
Yeah, absolutely, and I fully expect to continue to see those improvements from him because I thought he was ranked a little bit low, in those preseason polls anyway. So I was super excited to see him get that win. That was good for him, and looking forward to see what he does against Jake Piccirilli of UNCP. And like you kind of alluded to earlier, PJ Wonderlick, who actually ended up winning the duel for us, we started at 74. Just to give a little bit of context, I lost the toss, and the coach got to pick the weight class that we started at, which is normally 125. So we started at 74, which I think contributed a little bit to some of those like guys who are normally used to wrestling at the end of the match, kind of gauging that warm-up situation. But came down to PJ, and he ended up, while he started off shaky, gave up that first takedown, he ended up slapping that half on that kid and pinning him to win the duel for us.
Right, and just being able to pull the trigger offensively, being sharp on those go-behinds. I mean, he really, just every position that we worked on, it seemed like he made those adjustments. So I was really proud to see that.
Yeah.
I thought he looked good. We looked good up and down the lineup. We picked up 3 or 4 pins there.
Yeah, John Parker being one of them.
John Parker, PJ, Christian, and Chance Jackson.
Yep, Chance got his first pin too.
Lots of guys picking up some falls. Lots of guys looking good. And again, the big takeaway for me, at least personally, was just seeing those guys take those adjustments from week 1 to week 2 and make those adjustments and put them into practice, in a real application, not just hitting them in the room.
Right. And Christian, you mentioned that pin, that little throw, he went like throw by to a pancake. That's been all over the internet. Yeah. Like Splato City. It was dirty. Splato City picked it up. A lot of the bigger wrestling accounts picked it up too. So he's got like a couple thousand views on that one little clip right there. So it was pretty exciting to see. And he is in that 4-way kind of situation at 125 pounds where we're still trying to kind of figure some things out. So he looked great that match.
Yeah, a good problem to have. You got 4 guys that you're confident in. Bad problem to have that you like them all and you got to name one the starter and hurt 3 guys' feelings. But, again, good problem to have as a program. We're in a good situation there.
Yeah.
But, guys have stepped up and had good performances, and all it is a challenge to the other ones to do the same next time they're out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And so moving on, we went to Cleveland, Ohio, go Browns, to wrestle in the Bob Del Rosa Intercollegiate Ohio Open. That is a lot to say in one breath, but I think I killed it just then, actually. But the tournament actually was named in honor of the former head coach at Case Western Reserve University. His name was Coach Bob Del Rosa, obviously, and he passed on August 25th back in 2011 at the age of 75. It's kind of just doing a little bit of research to learn who he was, and he was the coach there for 45 years actually, so had a long-standing contribution to their institution, and everything I saw about him online, it seems like he made a really positive impact on the guys he came in contact with. So they had a great tournament in honor of him, and I thought it was a good opportunity for us to get, with it being so far away, a good opportunity for us to do some team bonding. We did our camping trip in the preseason, but we were able to take advantage of the extra time we had there to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We got a nice dinner and those kinds of things.
Yeah, and you're on the bus for 10 hours on the way up, 10 hours on the way back. Do a lot of sleeping, but you also do a lot of, playing card games, watching movies, BSing about whatever.
Yeah.
So I think those moments are good for the team, especially when you kind of isolate the core group. Not that, some of the young guys and the red shirts and all aren't important to the program, because they certainly are the future of the program. But when you're in season and you got those guys, you got 15, 20 guys on the bus, and those are the guys that you're going to basically whittle down to your 10, starters when it matters most. It's good to start building those bonds and building that camaraderie and having those situations off the mat, because on the mat you need those guys to be willing to, sharpen each other as iron sharpens iron and so on. So good moments all around and good opportunities for us as a team.
Yeah, definitely. And I did see some solid improvement at that tournament throughout the lineup from 125 all the way to heavyweight. For some of us, I think we're still not there yet. And when I say there, I mean like that destination in between our ears. We still aren't there mentally in terms of trust in our training and having confidence in the things that we see you do every day in the room. And that's just something that comes over time with A, experience, and B, repetition. So that's kind of why we hit these opens. We got 3 opens to try to work through some of that stuff. So you do get confidence pulling the trigger. You do get confidence going to your stuff on top. That way, whenever we do get into those conference situations, those regional situations, blood round situations where we need you to show up, hopefully you've been in that predicament over and over and over and over again, and you can produce and execute like we need you to.
Absolutely. And those, it's one of those comfort things. I was always more comfortable beating up on somebody I don't know than my buddy.
Right.
And I feel like that's sort of the mental switch we're still lacking with a few guys is they sort of know the outcome, or they know the situation with the guy in the room that they're friends with. They know I can do this, this, or this, because it's sort of been the status quo where they may be afraid to, take that same mentality or that same technique or whatever to the unknown. But that's the guy. You ain't never going to see him again. Just go,
Right.
Put
it on.
Beat the heck out of
Yeah.
him, and then come back and, get with your buddy later. But
Right.
We're close, and we've definitely made some improvements for sure. JP is one that sticks out.
Yeah. Offensively.
Yeah, he had a tough showing at the Southeast. I want to say Hokie. He had a tough showing at the Southeast Open, and really just never pulled the trigger.
Right.
And then he went out to he was with us in Ohio, and I mean he was in deep, scoring takedowns on these guys. Defensively, still got some ground to cover, but again, just another example of guys taking something that we've identified and translating it successfully to competition, which is huge.
Yeah, he was really letting it fly offensively, and it put him in some really good situations in the match. So looking forward to him continuing to improve as well. And some other standout performances was obviously John Parker, who took third. I believe he had to beat the number 1 seed from Cleveland State, which is a Division I institution, to take third in pretty exciting fashion. It was close.
Yeah, it was. Every match he wrestled with was reasonably tight.
Yeah.
At least to a certain point. I think he pinned the Gannon kid.
Yeah, he pinned the Gannon kid.
But lost a close one in the first round to the
Indiana kid.
guy, another D1 guy, and then wrestled all the way back and took third. Knocked off a couple D2, a solid D3 opponent, and finished by knocking off he knocked him off in the Consti semis, but finished off by knocking off another D1 opponent for third. So huge day for him.
Yeah, huge day. And that one D2 kid you mentioned, Glenville State, and they look really good, by the way.
Really solid team. So they're going to be on some radars after that.
They're already on mine. We'll definitely be keeping an eye out. But he had a solid tournament. Super proud of him. And I'll go ahead and address the elephant in the room for a lot of our guys. I think the assumption was that Chris Walton was going to come in here and just walk through this thing and be the guy. But that's another good problem we're going to have to figure out, I believe, at 197.
Yeah,
so
John Parker's going to have something to say about that.
Oh yeah, definitely. So super proud of the performance he had out there, and looking forward to him to continue to show up for us as Chris just got back from that football season. So let's talk about Devin Rice, who also had a great tournament.
Yeah, Devin Rice, heavyweight, last year really kind of started turning the corner, kind of started figuring it out. This year really leveled up. I mean, he's looked great all year. Last night he looked great. But going into the I want to say Southeast Open, my opens are all over the place. Going to the Ohio Intercollegiate Open as a D2 guy with the number of D1 guys who were there, the number of D1 guys he faced, and just chipping away and making it solidly to the finals before he ran into not necessarily a hammer or a buzzsaw, but really just a bad stylistic matchup for him.
Yeah.
And lost a tough one there, but he looked great the whole tournament, wrestled well, and ended up taking second.
Yeah, I was super proud of him, and dropped a tough one to a Glenville State kid. But the other reason we went out to Ohio, like I said, was to get some of these matchups, D2 matchups against other regions that we wouldn't otherwise see. So we got a body of work to come back and assess and review and take to the wrestling room to improve on. So I know we had a really important matchup at 49 with Devin Moore wrestling that Gannon kid, him wrestling this Glenville State kid, and some of the other really tough D2 teams that were out there too. We did see a lot that's going to help us improve and be more prepared for March.
Oh, absolutely. With the location of this tournament, it kind of sits in that Region 1, Region 3 crossover area. So you're going to pull a few Region 1s, Region 2, Region 3, and just kind of how the regions are developed, it's not that far from Region 4 either.
Right.
So we did see a good bit of competition from a lot of those schools, and those are ones that we're not going to see super often. Midwest ends up bringing a little bit more from out west. So it really was a nice way to round out our schedule and get some of those looks. And I like the fact that we got some looks early because it gives us a little longer to make those adjustments, and it makes the next meeting, which probably wouldn't happen to the NCAA tournament, a little bit more of a a fresh start.
Absolutely. So shout out to the guys for a great job out there, and to our donors and Pin Pool members who made that trip successful. It's not cheap to charter 10 hours one way, stay 2 nights over, or in a hotel, food, blah blah blah, all that stuff. So Scott Thomas, Donna Z Thomas, Penny Kelly, everyone that helped make that trip possible, we really appreciate it.
Right, and just to quickly point out that we're not picking and choosing our favorite Pin Pool members. They are in the area and did go a little above and beyond for that particular trip. So we do appreciate them, but we appreciate all of our Pin Pool members equally.
Yeah, absolutely, 110%. So Lincoln Memorial last night, like we kind of talked about at the beginning of the match, was super fun. It's always fun to win, though.
Right.
So and to win in a dominant fashion. I'm pretty sure in all the matches that we did take, we scored bonus points. So I mean, you can nitpick and say we need to adjust this, improve on that, but at the end of the day, to score bonus points in every single match that you win is super impressive.
Right, and the matches that we didn't win, Fletcher had a tough weight cut. Had some tweaked his knee early in the first. I mean, just it snowballed on him. So we dropped one there, and then at 141, our Ernest ran into their best kid.
Yeah,
and looked good. Almost caught him on his back, and then when their kid shot early, Ernest had a chance to end up with a little pancake situation. Didn't quite finish, and then later on, Ernest hit a shot, and their guy kind of did finish and catch him a little bit. But I mean, outside of those two situations, which not that we're happy with them, but at least excusable or at a minimum understandable, we looked great throughout the rest of the lineup. So guys were looking to score. Guys were looking for bonus, looking for the fall. We didn't have anybody who was out there just hanging out. Didn't have anybody who was just hand fighting and not looking for offense. I mean, everybody was, again, just that next level of building on what we've seen this season so far, and it was really reassuring to me to see that our guys are taking that feedback and applying it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I thought we looked it's crazy to say this, and I ain't knock on wood, so it keeps happening. I would argue that top was probably one of our best positions last night with our guys looking for turns, which is something we usually get on to them about, which is really like you said, reassuring to see those real-time applications in the match. And it's important to keep in the perspective that LMU is a new team. You know what I mean? We're not naive to the fact that they're a second or third year program, so they're still growing and developing too. Coach Bricker's doing a great job out there with those guys. Many of them I'm familiar with because I was in Tennessee at King, but like I said, it's just important to keep that in perspective. We dominated, but that was also the expectation, understanding that they're a young team. And so I think I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself when we look ahead to Pembroke. While we showed up last night and we wrestled how we were supposed to wrestle, I definitely think we need to at least be at that level, if not even more, to really take on a tough Pembroke team.
Right, and to that point, where I find the reassurance is the fact that it's not just that our guys showed up and beat a team they should beat. It's that our guys showed up and beat a team they should beat while implementing the adjustments and improving upon the things that we've brought up and addressed. So to me, that is where we did above and beyond just beating the team we should beat. Yeah, definitely. And shout out to D. Rice. I kind of just in my mind when I think of standout performances, that last match was super fun. He seemed to have no problem taking that guy down at will and then finish with an exciting lat drop. I was giving him crap after the match. I was like, dude, I didn't even know you knew a lat drop. I've never seen you hit one of these ever. I don't know that he does.
Right, he just
I think
went
he
for
accidentally hit it.
Right.
But during that, a funny story, during the blood timeout, I guess the kids, I thought it was his nose, but it was his finger or something. But anyway, the kid was bleeding, so we had a little blood timeout, and Rice was like, so should I try to pin him or you may have some fun? I was like, well, let's do both.
Yeah, let's have some
A
fun.
little bit of both. I have a little fun, but let's get the crowd into it. But also, I like pins.
Yeah, that dude is a monster. So super excited. Definitely standout performance last night goes to him. And it was exciting to win that duel in dominant fashion, like we said. So that's kind of where we are right now. Before we talk about what's up next in UNC Pembroke, I would like to jump into this podcast or the interview we did on the podcast with Nolan Whiteley. You had the pleasure of coaching him when he was here.
Yeah, Nolan was a great kid, great athlete, great wrestler. The number one pretty boy in the history of Newberry College.
Yeah, and he's not ashamed of it.
Anyone tell you different? He won't. He won't tell you different. He'll admit it.
Oh, yeah, he owns it.
Have you had anybody who's more of a pretty boy than me? I was like, dude, not even close. Like, yeah, I figured. But Nolan's a great kid. He's got a great head on shoulders. You'll see in the interview, he's always been looking and continues to look for ways to improve himself and his position, but not in a selfish way, in all the right ways. And he was like that as an athlete. He was at the house all the time. He was always asking, "Hey, you need somebody to babysit?" He just loved hanging out with my kids.
Yeah.
Little things like that. So I've always just really enjoyed Nolan, liked being around him. But you'll see why here shortly.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Nolan Whiteley, everyone. Enjoy. All right, everyone. We're here with Nolan Whiteley. Nolan, how we doing, dude?
Good, going well.
Awesome. And obviously we got the one and only Brian Blanton on the call. Brian, what's up?
How's it going, Coach?
Not too bad. Now, Nolan, it's kind of an interesting situation that I didn't actually, I didn't have the pleasure of getting to coach you. Coach Blanton did, though. So I'm going to kind of let him take the lead, at least on the first question or two, as far as like what you're doing nowadays and some other things that we want to get into. So, BB, take it away.
Well, Nolan, you finished up your career here as an All-American. That was awesome. Kind of went right out into the world and started making money and making moves. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing now. I know for a while there you were doing some moving, making some good money doing that, moving some rich people. So tell us a little bit about that and how you got set up with that.
Yeah, so that was a really crazy scenario. So after college, I actually part owned like a children's entertainment company. So it was like inflatables, like bounce houses, game trucks, things like that, photo booths. So I did that right after college for about 2 years. I did it all throughout high school and college. So after about 2 years after graduating college, I kind of wanted to do something else, but I didn't really know what that was going to be. So just oddly enough, I delivered something to somebody's house. That was a real nice house, no nice neighborhood. And me and the guy just hit it off right off the bat. He was a big Notre Dame football fan, so am I. So I was like, I like this guy, whatever he does, I want to work with him. And I never said that, but it was just kind of, we hit it off. About 3 months later, I got a call he called my work and said, can you find out who delivered something to my house? I want to talk to this kid. So 3 months later, I get a note on my desk saying, call Mike. I have no idea who this is. So it's the guy I delivered his house to. He's like, hey, I know we spoke, you're a great kid, would really want to have you come in for an interview. And it's like in the moving industry. I was like, I'm not trying to be like 2 men in a truck. And he's like giggling. He's like, that's not what it is. And I'm like, well, what is moving? I don't want to be doing manual labor. And he's like, just come in and talk to me if you're not interested, just it's worth your time. So, all right. So I went in and it was like the complete opposite. So they're pretty much, they move all big corporations. So like the Amazons, the Googles, a lot of the government, FBI, things like that. So they have contracts with them. So when they relocate an employee, they would call said company, which they would reach out to him or me, etc. So I started off doing kind of just referrals through people calling in and whatnot. And then I got promoted to the international side. So I moved over to the international side of the sales. Probably in the last year. So I travel quite a bit, kind of all over the U.S., just meeting different companies and whatnot.
Nice.
That's
Now,
awesome. Go ahead, Coach.
I was just going to ask, are you still doing that now? Is that currently what you're doing still?
Yeah, that's my full-time job. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. My bad, Coach. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, it feels like every time we talk, you've got, a few different irons in the fire. I know at one point you were doing stuff with roofing, renovating roofs and things like that. And then obviously the OMG Clee thing that you had going that you mentioned before, the kids party, inflatables and that type of thing. What all else do you have going on? Are you still involved with that? Or you got a bunch of irons in the fire still, or have you kind of settled on one path?
So I kind of pretty much have the one path. I do kind of dabble in a couple other things. I own 2 rental properties that I have that I just kind of fixed up over time that I rent out. And then I just kind of flip houses occasionally if there's a good deal. It's kind of like my passion. I kind of like seeing something go from like terrible to good, and then selling it. That's just obviously when they come up. It's not like I'm consistently doing one. I've only done one this year, so it just depends on when they come up. My brother actually works for the roofing company. I just kind of help out with him if he has like things in Cleveland to do, but that's really not what I do. It's kind of mainly more the moving.
Nice.
Awesome. And so switching gears here a little bit to talk wrestling. So you were an All-American in 2018, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And then when did you graduate from Newberry? Same year?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And so you graduated, but kind of back and forth, or backing up a little bit, talk to us some about your transition from high school to college, because I know you were at Willing for a little bit, and then kind of how that transition happened and what brought you here to Newberry.
Yeah, so my transition was pretty, I think just like everyone else, you struggle in the same positions if it's down or whatnot. But I think just like anything else, you learn to kind of figure out what your strengths are and kind of hesitate more towards those. The biggest transition I had was high school. I could take someone down with maybe 1 or 2 moves, but in college, someone can scout you and watch you and know that that's all you have. So you kind of have to open up your offense. And that's kind of what I struggled with, I would say, my first year or two. Then I was able to kind of switch it up and kind of go to different attacks and whatnot. But that's kind of the biggest change from high school to college for me. And then obviously just the accountability with school, and high school is kind of a joke. College is like, you can't just blow it off, or professors aren't just going to like let you pass because you're an athlete. High school, I kind of felt like sometimes I could kind of get away with anything, but there's a lot more work that goes into the college part. And I struggle with school a lot, actually. So all throughout high school and college, I'm dyslexic, so school never came easy to me. But I think just like wrestling, you just figure it out. Like, you just take it. You don't look at the whole 4 years. You just I just got to look at this class, this day, and figure it out. And somehow I graduated. I don't know how.
Nice. And I kind of got a little bit ahead of myself, because a lot of people, for those that are watching or listening to the podcast that don't know, Nolan's a native of Ohio, correct?
Yes.
All right. So talk to us a little bit about where you're from in Ohio, and just a little bit of your high school accolades too, because while you had a super successful college career, I know you had a really good high school career too.
Yeah, so high school was great. I'm actually right outside Cleveland is where I grew up, Ohio, about 20, 25 minutes out from downtown Cleveland.
Go Browns.
In the city. Yeah, go Browns. Big Browns fan over here. So yeah, I grew up in Cleveland, so born and raised, family, everyone's here. I'm the youngest of 5, so I have siblings all over the place that, they live everywhere else. So I went to Walsh Jesuit for high school. And I mainly went there just because I was at a public school for 2 years, and I just kind of like the best guy in the room type of thing. There was really nobody pushing you. And I knew if you want to get to that next step, you kind of got to get your ass kicked a little bit. So I went to Walsh Jesuit, and boy, was it humbling. Very, very humbling. My partners were like Johnny DeJulius, who, beat me up quite a bit, and the Skinesnys, and just a whole lineup that could really just whoop on you. And I kind of needed that. It humbled me. And second, it was the experience, because they whoop on you, but you can eventually, start gaining traction, scoring on them, things like that. And I give a lot of my success to the friends I have and the wrestling connections I had through wrestling, because without that, I don't know where I would be if I was at a public school still with those kids. They kind of took me to another level. Like, don't just set your goals to be, state place, or set it on winning it. Like that mentality, switched when I went there. Like, it's your mindset should be, you want to win a state title every year. So, and that's kind of something that just kind of drilled into me with not just wrestling, but kind of everything I do.
Yeah, that's awesome. That mindset is huge, dude. We were actually just out at the Southeast Open, and kind of this week been combing through some film with guys, and along the lines of just the mentality. We're watching film with one guy in particular, struggling getting off bottom, and I'm like, I kind of paused. I paused the video. I'm like, what's going through your head right now? and he says, I'm just trying not to get tilted. And I was like, well, do you see how that's counterproductive to what you should actually be thinking? Your mindset should be, we'll get that takedown back, So no, that's huge. You don't want to just qualify for the state championship or the national championship. You want to win it. And I think that's how you got to.
And once you switch your mindset to that, I feel like you're kind of off to the races. Like, everyone thinks I took 4th my junior year and 3rd in the state my senior year. And I think if you take 4th, everyone's like, oh my God, that's so crazy. That's great. That's, all your family and relatives, they think it's like the greatest thing in the world. But that's not what you wanted. Like, you learn to realize that might be cool, but that's not what I set out to do. So you're a little depressed about it, because you put in so much work and extra time. And when you fall short, it sucks. And I think that's where the gap of just people that become really successful. Some people just think that 4th place is great, and that's great for them. But most wrestlers have that mentality that they just want the next best thing. So they're not settled.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, as a person who, I didn't finish my career on top either. All-American, again, I didn't win it. And even if you were to talk to Isaiah, I guarantee you, after winning a title in 2021, coming back and taking 4th, in 2022, still leaves a little void there. And like you said, I think a lot of successful people in life, even though, eligibility runs out, find ways to, like you said, attack the next best thing, whether that's in real estate or moving or whatever you're doing after college. That highly competitive nature is still there.
Yeah. So it's all of us.
So yeah, man, you fast forward. And so Walsh Jesuit, then you went to Wheeling. You were there for a couple years. What brought you to Newberry?
So I was there for 3 years. So I was a 2-time qualifier my freshman, sophomore year. Going into my junior year, was kind of fluctuating between 33 and 41. Our 25 pounder was struggling making weight, so he was going 33. I would go 41, and we would kind of just flip flop back and down. So at the end of the year, I thought. In the beginning of the year, I was told you're going 33. That was the thing. We're just going to help the 25 make weight and bring him down, which I was fine with. Well, the end of the year came around. We were both kind of starting getting ranked in between 33 and 41, both of us. So he made the decision to, he's going to go 33. I'm going to have to go up to 41. I have to kind of wrestle off for that position now. And I ended up wrestling off. I won and went to regionals. I didn't qualify that year. That was my junior year. And I just kind of had this like kind of bitter taste in my mouth. And he went on and took fourth in nationals that year. And just kind of like, I don't want my senior year to come down to like a decision like that. I think the reason we all like the sport of wrestling is because you get to blame yourself. It's on you. If I lost the wrestle off, if I lost that, it's kind of that, hey, it's on me, and I didn't really have that. And I think I'm not the type of person that looks back at a career and says coulda, woulda, shoulda. I think like a lot of people do. I hate that. So I want him to be like, I just want to go somewhere that can say I failed because I failed, or I succeeded because I succeeded. So that's what brought me to Newberry. The reason of Newberry is because of Cy. So I knew Cy when he was at Coker, kept in contact with him. So I always wanted to go out to the Carolinas, to be honest with you. I think as a freshman in high school, senior in high school going into college, I was a little nervous to maybe probably go that far away. I had a girlfriend at the time, so it was probably, I want to stay close. But I wanted to go in the South, but I never thought it was possible. And it's kind of funny how things play out because I ended up there.
Yeah. Definitely. And obviously we're super glad you chose Newberry for that final year. Give us some highlights, man. Obviously getting on the podium is a huge highlight, but what are some of your other memories that stick out as far as things you really enjoyed about your time at Newberry?
Honestly, when I think of Newberry, I don't think about wrestling, as weird as that is. Well, I think about the people in wrestling. I think just when you go back to high school, like it's not about the accolades. And I think it took me a while after wrestling to kind of realize that. Like when I'm with my friends, I was with Johnny the other day, and you're never to really talk about, remember that match you lost, or it's like, remember the bus ride, Matt, remember when we stopped and got gas, and, it's just like a funny story that goes along with it. So I think that's what I look back at Newberry. The weather obviously was very big for me compared to snow in Cleveland. I think my funniest memory that makes me laugh all the time is we were driving home from a duel, and I was messing with RC there, LaHaye, pretty bad, making fun of his wife and just clowning on him, and me and him would always just dish it out, but he's the best person to dish it with. So I come to a rest stop, and he's just like shaking his head, and I have no idea what's coming. And he goes outside, fills up gas, and I'm in the front seat, and he goes and gets the windshield wiper and dips it in fluid and just jumps in the front and just starts like stabbing me. And like it was just like funny. I'm like, I got cleaning her all over me. And it was just like a funny memory. Like it wasn't about whoever I dueled that night or wrestled. It was like, that's like a funny memory you're gonna take with you.
Yeah,
so like, it's like that, like bus rides, or cutting weight with somebody, or going to the grocery store to pick out 1,000 drinks, but you only really would drink one because you can't drink them all. So it's things like that you remember, not so much the accolades.
Right, no doubt. And I mean, Cy was just in here yesterday. He was talking about, I guess, I don't think I was actually on that van ride, but he was talking with Blanton about a time he like ate it, getting off a van. I guess it was icy or something outside. And most of the things we reminisce on are definitely not wrestling related. So, which
is crazy because that's all we focus on while we're in it, So it's just like, that's all you focus on is like this, but the moments are actually that you're in are probably the most important.
Right. How do you feel that wrestling in general, but specifically your time at Newberry, has prepared you to be successful in life, not only as a person, but as a leader, looking to do your own thing, and you are doing your own thing. How do you feel like your time at Newberry helped with that?
I think the mentors, like the coaches we had, Coach Blanton, Cy, and RC, and like the, Isaiah, I still keep in contact with, Tyler
Yep.
Wicken, people of that nature. I think the big thing I'm always been a believer on, if it's a job I pick or a school I pick, it's so much the people I'm around, not so much the job or the money I make. I'm a big believer in that. You have to surround yourself with good people. It's not worth taking this big paycheck and you're hanging out with a bunch of scumbags. Like you got to be pounding people that are going to bring you up, and not just, they're good, generally good people. So I think that's what Newberry did. So it kind of prepared me with the coaches, the coaching staff. Like I can call any one of them any day and they're going to answer. And I think you go to a lot of programs, you call your coach, it's like that they might not have your number saved. You're just another number, right? Like I feel like I have that connection with kind of all three of them.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And as far as like just general advice for our guys, wanting to get in and accomplish what you accomplished in terms of getting on the podium and having a successful collegiate career, what would you, tell them, and what advice would you give them?
That it goes fast and it's okay to stand out, or it's okay to be rare. I think a lot of times early on, I like to do extra work after practice or run in the morning or at night. And when you're kind of a freshman or younger, it's kind of like you kind of get made fun of for that. Oh, the extra guy trying to go the extra mile, trying to get coach impress you, like things like that. But like it's like I didn't care about that. Like it's not like I have a goal I want to do that you might not need to put in the extra work to do that, or maybe your goal isn't as high as mine. But like I had that mindset, so it's not so much like kind of blocking out the outside noise, like not really reading into rankings and not reading into this and that. It's just kind of just going out there and competing. I think the part I loved about wrestling was, regardless of what you're worried about, anxiety, whatever people have, is when you step on the mat and you shake hands, at least for me, the whole world blacks out. It's just me and that opponent. I feel like the world stops and I'm just and it's really hard to get that feeling. Like I don't get it. I wish I did, but it's just it's a feeling that you don't want to take for granted, because there is a day that it is going to be over.
Yeah, it does go fast, man. I feel like we just started the preseason and already into tournament number 2 on the year in the great state of Ohio and Cleveland. Looking forward to seeing you out there, dude.
Let's go.
Where are we eating at?
I don't know. What time you guys get in?
We don't get in until probably around 4 or 5 on Friday. So I'm thinking we'll have to do something either Friday night or Saturday night. But we're looking for you to give us the recommendations. Brian likes to eat. Some
recommendations for sure. Is there anyone on that team I still know, or everyone? I think Isaiah might have been the last one.
I don't know, Blanton. Is there anyone?
Yeah, I'm thinking Isaiah probably was the tail end.
He's been in school for like 10 years, I feel like.
Yeah.
So you might know
4 years after me, and I thought he was a junior. But that COVID year, I mean, that dude, he was messaging me during NCAA. He's like, my body hurts. I'm like, yeah, you're like 40. I don't. I coach high school now, and I'm sore. You know what I mean? Yeah. I can't imagine competing at your level right now.
That's funny. Yeah, he was here for a minute, man. And then I think he had like a gap year there too, where he went home, blah blah blah, came back. But maybe
COVID year doesn't help either. That's COVID here will make it happen. Yeah.
Right. But he made the most of it. Shoot. So as far as kind of just putting a bow on things and wrapping up here, we always appreciate your support, and you always kind of hitting us up on social media. We see you supporting, shooting text, whatever. So we definitely got to get you some gear, and we appreciate all that you've done for the program, dude. You're somebody that we definitely looked at as a leader during your time here, and excited to see you out there crushing it now. But like I said, we're just kind of wrapping it up. Talk to us a little bit about what your goals are in the future. Now that you're kind of set in your career and established, like, do you want to coach? Do you want to continue doing what you're doing with the business you're with? What are some of those like 3 to 5 year goals you have?
Yeah, so definitely in 3 to 5 years. I actually coach at a high school since I actually got out of college. I jumped right into it over at Brecksville, Broadview Heights. Mm-hmm. So I've worked with some great kids there. Victor Voinovich is one that I worked with for his 4 years over at Oklahoma State now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oklahoma State,
State too, right?
What's that?
Did you have one that went to NC State as well?
So he actually was going to NC State. He's a senior this year. He just decommitted and he's going to Ohio State as of today. He's signing his stuff. So you work with people like that, and then every year I'm like, I'm done, right? Like I would rather focus on work, but you just get drawn back in every single time. Like there's a kid or someone you work with and you see them go from maybe not making the lineup to now it's on the state podium and things like that just really just excite you. That like, all those practices you drove to every single day that you're like, I could skip today. You know, you kind of made a difference. And a lot of them, even after college, like I feel like I got a lot of like younger friends. Like, I see them out all the time, which is cool. It's just kind of, it's the more people you know, the better. And it's nice being able to kind of be a mentor and kind of be there for them. Post with work and whatnot. I definitely still want to, you know, get in the real estate more. Maybe it'd be nice to get a couple more rental properties in the next maybe 5-10 years, but just see how the market goes and whatnot. With work, just continue. I really like what I'm doing, actually. I really like the traveling end of it. I've been traveling a lot. I think I've been on like almost 40 flights this year. I'm actually headed out today to Chicago just till tomorrow. So just like they're little short trips, but I like kind of, there's so much more to the world than the little town you grew up in or, you know, and whatnot. So I realized that a lot probably this year more than anything else, that the places you go, this world's big. And sometimes when you're in your own bubble, you think it's kind of all about you, but this world's huge. So again, it humbles you quite a bit. So yeah, moving forward, I just kind of want to continue to put myself around good people. I'd probably be married or have kids, I would imagine, in the next 5 years. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe not as many kids as Blanton, but I'll have a couple.
Hey, once you hit a certain number, you don't notice any of the extras.
I think that's true for you. You can't even name them all.
They're just numbered at this point.
Right.
I don't blame you. I don't even want you to tell me how old they are, because I'm gonna feel really old, because I was with them when they were like little. They're probably like
Brantley's 10.
Don't
Kendall's
tell me
5,
that.
dude. Kendall's
5?
Yeah.
He was like a year
baby.
old when I
Yes.
was there. Oh wow. So you got your hands tied over there.
Mm-hmm.
You got one of them out of there though, and you got one in college now.
Yeah, Campbell's in college, dude.
No way.
Yeah, she's a freshman.
Wow, I can't even comprehend. That's creepy to know.
Spurs up.
What school is she going to? Which school is she at?
She's in South Carolina.
Okay. It's close.
Yeah, she was too cool for Newberry, so.
You still a Bulldogs fan?
Nah, what? Get out
Oh,
of
that was Cy. It was a Bulldogs fan.
here. Yeah, roll tide.
Yeah, I forgot you're a front runner.
You're a clown, dude. I'm named after Bear Bryant. Come on, get out of here.
I'm surprised you're not coaching over at like Marysville or someone top dog over there. I don't even know who it is now.
Oh my goodness. Dang, coach, you going crazy on the buttons over there.
Sorry, man. Technical difficulties, my bad. No, but I was gonna say too, I kind of froze out, so I couldn't hear what you were saying. But you need to be sending some of those guys here. You send them to the wrong schools, Nolan. NC State, no. What are we doing, man?
Trust me, I have those ones. It's not even worth. Those ones they were going to that school for their whole life. They knew about it. Yeah. I sent you a couple names last year. People like, you know, either I saw at the state tournament or just that I know of. We had one, but he just I was gonna recommend you, but he tore his labrum and kind of recovering from that. So I don't know. I don't want to give you someone, then you come back and you're like, how did you tell me to do this?
Right. No, I'm just giving you a hard time, man.
I know. And what a nice time to follow up after last week, Cody Garbrandt. It's nothing easy to follow up from.
Yeah, just wanted to make sure.
I'm like, seriously, Cody Garbrandt. I'm like, I don't have no UFC belt.
He was just trying to get in here before you said he didn't want to. He had a hard act to follow if he went.
Yeah, he's rolling out the red carpet for me. That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go with that.
Well, it was a pleasure having you on the show, dude. I appreciate all the support. We'll definitely get that gear in the mail to you, and look forward to seeing you in like a day or two. So
yeah, we'll connect this weekend. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Awesome, dude. Good talking to you, my man.
Cool. Yeah, you guys have a good one.
All right, take care.
Take care.
All right, everyone. That was Nolan Whiteley, former All-American here at Newberry College. Super glad he took some time to jump on the podcast with us.
Oh, absolutely. Nolan's a great guy to have around, and good catching up with him. We actually caught up with him
in Cleveland
post-interview, but before today in Cleveland, and just more of the same. Great guy, fun to be around, fun to talk to. He's got 4 brothers, and they're all different in their own way, but equally fun.
Yeah, he's an awesome guy and a really avid supporter of Newberry Wrestling. Although he was only here for that last year of his eligibility, he said that that he wished he spent all of his time here, and always is hey, you need to be looking at this Ohio kid, that Ohio kid. Hey, you need to get this guy on the podcast. Like very wide network in such a short amount of time in his career post college. But I just always appreciate the fact that he's got us in mind in terms of some of those really talented Ohio kids and just general support for our program. So we appreciate you, man, and we'll definitely look to continue supporting you in your career, and are proud to call you a Wolf.
Absolutely, and if we don't send him some gear soon, he's probably going to revolt.
Yes, so we will get that gear in the mail ASAP. So next up on November 29th, we're going to head to a very hostile environment. Pembroke, they're going to be looking to get that win back.
Not only are they going to be looking to get the win back, they're going to have the place packed out. They're going to be loud. They're going to be, not them specifically, but there will be in some way, shape, or form some trash talk.
Oh yeah,
some trying to get people riled up. It's going to be a fun time, a fun environment. There's going to be electricity. It's going to be rowdy. Everybody's going to be bringing their A game, and they're going to give us everything we come for.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm excited about it. That's what we practice and what we train for. That's the fun part of being a college wrestler, being a college coach, is being in those moments where their adrenaline's pumping, and hey, let's see if you can show up or not. And so just based on what they put out in their most recent duel with Limestone, they really put it on them pretty bad, 39-12. They started off with Logan Saliga at 125 pounds. He's the number 10 ranked wrestler in the country right now, actually coming down from 133. I remember he won the Newberry Open last year, and we got our work cut out for us at 125 pounds. I feel like we're up for the challenge, but definitely it's going to be a dogfight there.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if we're looking for a silver lining or a sense of confidence, it's the fact that Shoop held his own with Daggett a couple years ago, wrestled a 1 or 2 point match at regionals. Had him beat until he foolishly chose bottom when we told him to go neutral.
Right.
But got turned, then got the escape and the takedown, but it ended up being the difference with that 4 point near fall. And Saliga's solid. So, we'll have our work cut out for us, but I certainly think it's a winnable match, but we're going to have to show up and we're going to have to wrestle well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And either way, at 133 pounds, the guy they've been putting out pretty consistently is Logan Robinson, who is ranked pretty low in Super Region 2 right now. So, I mean, on paper, I expect to take that one, and if we could score some bonus points, that would be awesome. But we'll probably be sending out Tim Decatur, and that everybody can look at what we've been wrestling so far. But, yeah, I'm excited about that bout, too.
Yeah, on paper it's one we should win, but Pembroke's going to bring it. So not only is this a program that is a rival, a long-time conference rival, but at the same time they're well coached and their kids, they're good and or tough.
Yeah,
they're not neither.
Right.
So a lot of their guys are good and tough. Some of them are pretty dang good, and you got to show up and be tough to have a chance. And even the ones who maybe aren't quite as talented, they're all tough and they fight and scrap for every point. They're stingy. They're going to steal one on the edge. Mm-hmm. So Tim's going to have to show up and wrestle well also, not just to get bonus, but even to make sure he wins that match, he's going to have to bring his A game.
Yeah, absolutely. And we certainly will continue to drive that point home with our guys. Some other just important matchups that we hope to get and look forward to even, to winning for sure, so we can continue to improve in the standings is, like I mentioned earlier, Devin at 149 pounds. He's going to be facing number 2 Jake Piccirilli from UNCP. At 157 pounds, that's going to be another good one as well. Will Lowry is who they have ranked right now at number 5 for UNCP. Even though they wrestled a different kid, so I'm not sure due to injury or whatever, Lloyd Burkhead, but either one, that's still going to be an important match for us to enter the rankings, because right now we don't have a guy ranked at 157 pounds. Same kind of deal for 165 as well. And then kind of fast forwarding to 285, I'm interested to see how D. Rice does after losing pretty handily at home to the heavyweight from Pembroke, and then closing the gap. He really closed. I think it was a 1 point match at regionals last year.
Right. And again, I feel like Devin has turned the corner and sort of leveled up. I would say last year, I believe I would have said he turned the corner. Yeah. This year, he's leveled up. So it will be interesting to see how that match goes. I'm interested to see that 184 matchup. That was a 1-on-1 last year. I think the second one was a very questionable win for them. Mm-hmm. One that I actually got confirmation from the head official at the tournament that had something been worded differently, or
because you threw a brick in that match.
Yeah, I threw a brick.
Yeah,
and because the official called a takedown before he had control, and I said that's not 2, and basically the head official said, well, once the official blew the whistle and Armando stopped wrestling, and the other guy was able to then really cover and secure the 2, that it was 2, so that my wording should have been that he didn't have control at the time 2 was called. I was like, how is that different from
what you said?
What I said? So I felt a little guilty for Armando, but at the same time, that's just silliness. But that's a match that was, those head-to-heads were 1-1 last year. Felt like Armando was a better wrestler than both of them.
Yeah.
Love to see him go sort of set that straight.
Yeah, and it looks like either it's going to be that guy. They have another one they've been wrestling, Shalik Scriven. He's 4-1 on the season. So either way, I think he's going to have his work cut out for him, right. And it's going to be an important matchup for us to hopefully enter that Super Region 2 ranking at 184 pounds. 174 as well. They got our guy Dayton Fields ranked just below Caleb Grew or Grau. I'm not exactly sure how you say his last name. He's 5-1 right now, but excited to advance and continue to improve at that weight class as well. So, like you said, it's going to be tough overall, but I'm super excited, up for the challenge. We got a few days to get healthy, to train and make some adjustments from the competition we've had so far, but super pumped to get out to Pembroke, North Carolina and get after it. So moving on here, we just want to talk about some general Newberry College news. Congratulations to Newberry football coach, SAC champions, back-to-back.
Back-to-back, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Fell a little short with the D2 playoff selection committee. A lot of factors go into that. That's sort of been the mood and has driven most of the discussion, in the past week or two. And I think that's unfortunate because at the end of the day, we got something to celebrate.
Yeah.
Back-to-back SAC titles, Coach of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year.
Mario Anderson, yep.
13, I believe, all-conference selections. I mean, we just crushed it, and it's being viewed as a negative because we didn't make the playoffs. But, I mean, it's probably one of, if not the best season in Newberry College football history. Let's celebrate a little bit.
Absolutely. I echo that sentiment 110%. So congratulations to you guys on a tremendous season. And, it's good to have Chris Walton back in the room, but it is bittersweet because, like you said, while their season came to an end, we get them back. While we get them back, they didn't advance, but it is still something to celebrate. And so super proud of Newberry football. When they win, we all win. So we're always glad to support them. General news for Newberry College. There were 4 Bachman Honor Scholars that won awards this past year. And they were all athletes. Mike, you want to help me out? What sports? I know you kind of mentioned in passing.
Men's soccer, women's rugby, and softball.
Holding it down for Newberry Athletics. And that's a very distinguished award. Membership in the Bachman Honor Society is the highest academic honor that Newberry College bestows on students. So 4 became the society's newest inductees on November 11th during the college's annual Founders Day convocation. And that was an award that was founded in 1962 by faculty and named for Newberry College's founder, the Reverend John Bachman. The society honors graduating seniors who finished in the top 8% of their class for a GPA, and then members are selected each fall and each spring. So congratulations to Sierra Chavez, Adrian Garcia, Ariana Hawkins, and Teddy Noon.
Ariana Hawkins is Sawyer's soccer coach.
Really?
Yep.
Sawyer soccer coach? Nice. Small world, man. Yep. So congratulations. And other news, if you want to talk about the scholarship.
So there's a new scholarship being given it's being named in honor of Newberry College's first black head basketball coach, as well as first black athletic director, William Grafton Young Jr. He was the head basketball coach from 92 to 2002.
Yep.
And he was the AD from 95 to 2000, I believe.
Yep.
And, kind of saw the college through a period of turmoil there in the late 90s, going into the 2000s. I've known, in fact, a couple of our football coaches were students at the time.
Oh, nice.
Guys I know pretty well who were around during that transition period. I think for a couple of years there, we were even non-scholarship just to try to, get things rolling again. So Mr. Young was able to navigate those waters, lead the programs that obviously the basketball program where he was the head coach, but also the entire athletic department, out of darkness sort of back into a period of prosperity, because by the time I was a freshman here in 2006, just a few years after he was done, things were back on the up and up. So he certainly had a huge hand in getting Newberry back to a place of prosperity. We owe a lot to him, and I believe the scholarship certainly shows that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, thanks to whoever is the benefactor of the scholarship. They wish to remain anonymous. So whoever you are, know that it's very much appreciated. And
yeah, we'd like to talk about you, but we can't. So,
so thank you very much. And yeah, thanks to everybody for listening to the podcast. Before we get out of here, just want to give one more shout out to an alumni, former wrestler, former Wolf, Bill Glace, like you said, who was there at the match last night. We were able to honor him for his Teacher of the Year award back this summer in June. He teaches mathematics out there at Abbeville High School. He brought the entire squad out. We brought him out at what would have been the halftime for the duel. And so congratulations, Bill. We appreciate your support and super proud of you, not only for your leadership while you're here as a part of our program, but also the way you're leading those young men and women right now in your classroom and on the mat right now. So congrats, Bill. We appreciate everybody for listening. We'll see you again next December, or this next month, in December, for the next episode of the Pack Leader Podcast. We'll hopefully have some more good news and recaps for you as we head to Pembroke, and then we will also be in Virginia again for the George Mason Open. That's going to be another tough one, and then as we prep for Midwest Classic. So appreciate you guys tuning in.
Yep, and just to kind of heads up, our anticipated podcast release dates are typically mid-month, but they may adjust slightly. Like if you look at our schedule and we're planning on, let's say mid-month is 15th.
Yep.
Let's say you were wrestling on the 17th and 18th of that particular month, and if it's a big event, maybe just plan on us releasing after that so that we can include it. Or if there's not a lot going on, and we may be able to release the 12th or 13th. But just so everyone listening who's trying to follow along has an idea, mid-month is sort of our goal to shoot out each new edition.
Yep, absolutely. So we appreciate you listening. Go Wolves.
Go Wolves.